Hi, listeners. As parents, and I'm sure you'd agree with me because it's coming from a parent, I think we've always been very protective of our kids. We always double check the logs, we track their phones. Though kids are very smart these days, you can't easily track them, but still we try. We at night peek into their rooms just to make sure they're okay. And yet, there are some moments when we just let go, just a little. So, for example, I remember, this playdates thing has become so very common these days. We leave our kids to play for the day. Then I'm sure you'd recall there have been busy fairs, carnivals where our kids have forced us to take them to. And just a little oversight can actually, within a matter of seconds, turn your world upside down. Or in this case, I remember this true crime case that I heard about. Madeleine McCann, she'd gone for a vacation with her parents. That vacation went horribly wrong. Or in today's case, or the review that we're going to be talking about, a sleepover at a friend's house. Just one night, just a usual evening. But what if that night, that evening, turns into something that becomes every parent's worst fear?
Interesting you use the word oversight. I don't think it's necessarily an oversight. It's more about trust, I think. Perhaps a small decision, you see a familiar face and you think, yeah, I can trust my kid with her. And a moment where everything seems okay, no harm. And then, all of a sudden, as you said, something shifts and life completely turns upside down. And in The Stolen Girl, this is exactly what we see.
And listeners, trust me when I say this, it's a strong reminder that when it comes to children, and it comes from me when my daughter is fairly grown up, I believe very strongly that no age is too old to watch closely. No detail is ever too small. I still keep watching her.
You're listening to Oops, We Pinched It Again, the podcast where I, a Gen Z daughter, and my Gen X mom Mukta talk about everything that's out there that's worth watching.
And keeping true to our word, we always keep it easy, spoiler free. And we hope, listeners, we've helped you pick your next show without all that endless scrolling over the weekends.
And if you've been following some of our previous episodes, you would have noticed we kind of stay to Netflix all the time. But this time, for the first time, we're going over to Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. And we are bringing to you a gripping British drama that starts with a missing child and then unfolds into something much, much deeper. So, listeners, for you today, we're going to be reviewing the series The Stolen Girl. And in one word, I'd say clever.
And I'd say realistic. I mean, if you remember, Mum, at first we thought, another kidnapping story, there's a ransom demand, whatever.
But what did start as something like a random kidnapping turned out to be a rewardingly gripping and mysterious story.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it starts really simply. There's a little girl, Lucia. She goes for a sleepover and insists her mother, Elisa, that she wants to go on this sleepover. And it's meant to be just one night. Now, her mum, Elisa, drops her off, but the next morning, when she goes back to pick her up, Lucia is missing. She's gone. She's disappeared. No one knows where she is. When Elisa goes back to the house to look for her, there's no forced entry. There are no sounds. There's nothing at all that is suspicious because it's a very calm, nice, quiet house. But then inside it, there are many, many secrets.
And a daughter who never came home.
Yeah.
And from that point, the story actually begins to spiral. So you see Elisa, played beautifully by Denise Goff, go from confusion to panic to something almost paralyzing. It was so relatable. As a mum, I could sense the helplessness. I could feel it.
It was a very natural performance.
Extremely.
Yeah.
And as a viewer, listeners, you will feel as if you're watching something completely fall apart and still trying to hold it together. You'll feel as if you are one with her. And what I found real was the way people immediately start looking at the parents.
I know, and don't you agree that happens in real life too? I mean, the minute a child goes missing, quickly the fingers start to point. It was the mum that was negligent. The father definitely knew something. Why did they even let her go to a sleepover?
I know that you ask is an interesting question, Nandini, because and the ones who are from my generation, you would know what I'm saying. Our parents, I wouldn't say that we are more protective or they were more protective. I think they were overly cautious. They would just not allow any sleepovers. I don't remember having slept over at my friend's place ever when I was growing
Oh,
up.
yeah?
Yeah, for us, honestly, for us, playing was all about on the streets till maybe a little dark, and then your mom would shout out from the kitchen that your dad's on his way. You better come inside, or else you're going to be beaten to sleep today. And for us, sleepovers were only the summer vacations, the holidays, when we would go to maybe our grand's place or maybe
With cousins.
with cousins. But then with our parents around, it was
Yeah.
never about me or my brother, your uncle, ever being sent for a sleepover ever.
Interesting.
And I'm not saying that the world was not safe back then or it was safer back then. That's not the debate here. I think with how things have evolved, things have changed. I think parents or anyone for that matter, even kids like you, Nandini, it's just about being more cautious. And for parents like me or all the parents in this generation as well, it is all about knowing fully well the person you are entrusting your kids with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think if you don't do that, if you don't do proper background check on who you're sending your kids to and you let go a little, opinions very quickly form. I mean, in this series as well, you see the media, they get involved, and it's really not about finding the girl anymore. It's about who do we blame. And that keeps building over and over, and even with this journalist angle that's involved. There's a journalist in this case, Selma. She kind of inserts herself into this story, into the life of Elisa, Lucia, and the dad. Personally, I mean, you know this, I did not like her.
I know. You said this through the series.
Every time she came on screen, I was like, enough. I mean, there were moments where I just thought, like, Selma, you don't have to be in this family's living room, digging through their personal pain. You can see Elisa literally crying, vulnerable. I mean, you don't have to be here.
Yeah, but I think you're being a little too harsh on her. I think Nandini, her character, she was necessary to the plot. I agree she was not kind, she was not comforting. And then the story that she wrote on Elisa was,
that was
really damning.
brutal,
That was rude of her. I totally agree. But if you come to think of it critically, I think she does ask the right questions, Nandini. She was the one who kept pushing when everyone else around Elisa had stopped.
Yeah.
And in that very annoying way, I think she has helped move things forward.
I mean, yeah, she does drive the story to the end, but it's just that character. I was like, maybe that's journalists. They want answers. They want to get to the truth, but it was just a bit too much. I mean, but anyways, enough about my personal hate. Back to the story. I think overall it does a great job of drawing you in and really holding your attention as a viewer. I mean, if you remember, Mom, that one really, really edge of our seat scene, there was like in episode 2, I remember, there was a postman that had come to Elisa's house, dropped off a letter, and then the letter, it just falls accidentally and no one notices it.
And honestly, I was feeling so annoyed and so anxious. I wanted to stand up, get inside the screen, and hand the letter over to her myself.
It was so intense. Oh my
God, honestly. And then I believe, a strong storytelling is about being able to establish a personal connect with the viewer immediately, instantly. And this scene in itself, for this instance, was like both of us, you remember?
Oh my God.
What did you say? Pick the letter up. Why can't you see it? It's on the floor there,
I know,
right there.
Just bend a little, you will see it.
Exactly. But anyway, you remember an episode, the first one, where the police now, they organize a journalist briefing.
Yeah, with the media, yeah.
Yeah. They start giving their initial findings. They started sharing initial views and their observation of what has happened so far. What were we reminded of, Nandini?
Oh my God, our Sherlock Holmes game. We need to take a second to talk about this.
I know, and it's very interesting, listeners, honestly. So, Nandini and I, this weekend, we were at Oxford. We were walking down the street, and there was this beautiful, engaging, very, very interesting, intriguing bookshop. I wouldn't say engaging, I would say intriguing, actually. But then anyway, we went in hoping to buy a book maybe off the shelf. And then we happened to cross the section where they had board games. We stumbled upon this brilliant board game called Sherlock Holmes, literally. And then it has about a lot of cases, about 75 of them. And then they have a board in which you have different areas, like the real Sherlock Holmes times. You have the dogs, and then you have the pub,
Locksmith, a
locksmith, the
pub,
dog.
a
Yeah,
museum,
exactly.
a theater.
Yeah. And then you go to these places on the board, and there's a case on the card, and then you start solving it, collecting clues. So far, it's like, ew, yay, a real Holmes case has begun. Now let's look at the clues, let's piece them together,
Yeah.
get to the mystery.
It was so funny because the police, they were like, here is where Lucia was seen last, and I was like, no, we need to go to that place and get the clue. But no, it really does draw you in as a viewer, 100%. And I think every time you think, okay, fine, I think I'm starting to piece something together, there's someone new in the story. And then at first you wonder, I mean, do we really need this character? Is it a distraction? But slowly these characters start becoming really important. And the show, I think it gives you just enough time to understand really who's who. There are a couple of flashbacks, but they're always short and always relevant. It's like 9 years ago, and then there's 2 weeks ago. So it's not really like 9 years, 8 years, 7 years. It's really quick and sharp and crisp.
I agree with that. And then I remember these characters. Sherlock Holmes manual also told us there will be some characters or some instances introduced in the case where they would be just distractions, just noise.
Yeah.
And we thought, that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, we saw this character and we were like, no, that's
It's
noise.
Forget it, ignore. Anyway, what I also liked is that this series does not pretend that the family is perfect, that screen perfect families. There's tension between the parents, between the father and his own choices, and even Elisa's relationship with her own mother is, I must say, a bit complicated.
Layered and complicated.
Yeah. It's all those small cracks that then start showing up.
And I think at the same time, we're trying to piece things together. Like, is someone lying? Who is hiding what? And the show, after each, I think there was like 5 seconds towards the end, gives you just enough to keep you suspicious. There's always a cliffhanger in the end, and you're like, oh my god, I just have to hit the next episode and watch what actually happened.
And those just, can we watch another 5 minutes? Maybe 10? Maybe no, because next day we've got to go to work.
Oh my god, I know.
Oh my god. Anyway, even Rebecca, speaking of characters, I mean, you remember Rebecca, the woman whose house Lucia went to for the sleepover? She too seemed so normal at first, friendly. Her behavior to me was questionable right from the start. There were instances where, as an alert parent, you would question Rebecca's reactions. And honestly, I really wanted to ask Elisa, why can't you just notice?
These are some red flags. Elisa, please react. Take your kid away. And I was also right about the series was it was not like very flashy. I mean, if you remember back to our first episode, Riviera, that was a very elite, rich setting in Monaco. But this is plain homes, simple clothes, everyday clothes, and a very sharp story. You focus on what's happening, and you care so much about Lucia, Elisa, you just want the truth.
Yes, and then that emotional connect, you want Lucia to be found. You so want the truth. And in that process, listeners, you will see that you end up unpacking a lot about blame, about guilt, and about how the past has a way of catching up with us. Something I truly believe in.
I know, absolutely. I mean, we hear it time and time again, and this story just keeps telling you that much, that no matter how much you run from it, the past always finds a way to show up again.
That's at the heart of The Stolen Girl. Yes, I agree it's a mystery, but it also is about consequences, about the roles we play in our own lives and in other people's stories.
And exactly, and it's a quick watch for anyone who's looking for something short and sharp. It's just 5 episodes, each about an hour, and they go by really quickly. There's a lot that happens in each episode, so it doesn't feel like, oh, we're on the same topic even now. So you definitely would want to watch it in one stretch, like we did, but it's a perfect weekend binge. So, Mum, if I were to ask you, who do you think the series is really for?
So for me, I'd say, coming from a parent, I would say for parents, definitely. So if you've ever had a child or even just been responsible for one, you'll relate deeply to Elisa's emotions. As I said earlier, if you remember, that helplessness, that panic that she had, the way that she just would not give up. It's so relatable. I could connect with it on a personal level.
Absolutely. Her acting was so raw and relatable, and you could really see that vulnerability. I mean, it was just, very nice performance. And I think even as someone who's not a mum, you really can feel that pain. But I think, yes, if you are a parent, this will definitely hit differently and you'll have a different reaction to it. And also, I think in general, if you really like fast paced thrillers, this is for you. It's really short, sharp, raw, and like I said, you can binge it in a weekend.
And it doesn't overdo anything. It just keeps the things very tight, which is rare in series otherwise that we've watched.
Exactly. And I think when we talk about rare, another thing that's definitely worth mentioning is the ending. I mean, a lot of series and movies that you watch, sometimes it's just a simple, predictable ending, and you're like, fine, everyone's happy, everyone's normal again. But this one, I think the ending was quite special. It was touching, it felt quite practical, and I think for some people, they got the answers that they wanted. For some people, they got the apology that they really, really needed. And for some, and I think most of them, justice was definitely served. And I think that's what made this series really special, and that's kind of the reason it stays with you for a while. All right, then. All that said, rating?
I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
9.
Why 9? Yeah, I'll tell you why. You know, Nandini, I love a good character developing story. So maybe just about 1 or 2 emotional moments could have been given a little more focus, maybe.
I see the
That's
point.
all I felt. But otherwise, still, it's not that I'm criticizing it for that. Just that it would have been a hit 10 if they just had those elements in.
No, I see that. I think I give it an 8, but for a different reason. And I think this is a very predictable reason. I did not like the journalist angle.
Why am I not surprised?
I mean, I know we debated this earlier, but I found her a bit too much at times. Every time she came on screen, I was just like, I cannot keep her. I just know. Because some scenes, it really just felt like she was more focused on proving herself than actually helping the story forward.
With that, I agree. With the last statement that you've made, I think I agree. But overall, the series, very well done.
Yeah, that 100%.
And if you're looking for something gripping, grounded, and emotionally real, listeners, this is it.
So that was The Stolen Girl. Very intense, sharp, and quite emotional, I would say. Definitely one of those shows that stays with you and for a long time. So if you do watch it, we'd love to know what stood out for you. Was it the story, the performances, or like us, that moment where you just had to hit next episode?
Just for 5 minutes. So, listeners, what do you think we're bringing to you next week? Okay, another thriller, but a nail biting one that proves there are only 2 types of people in this world. And to quote, one who are in control, and the other who are meant to listen. And what if you are stuck in a do or die situation?
And all you are asked to do is nothing.